Life as a neurodivergent or autism parent may not be ordinary for everyone, but it's your NeurOrdinary. This is your space to find resilience, self-care, and maybe even a little bit of peace. Because when you care for yourself, you care for everything that matters most.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of NeurOrdinary. I'm Karen Casso, your self-care and resilience coach, here to remind you that you are not alone on this journey of parenting while navigating neurodivergence. Today's topic is one that hits home for so many of us, parenting through the hard days. You know the days I'm talking about, the ones where it feels like nothing is going right, your patience is running on fumes, and you're carrying the weight of it all alone. On those days, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, frustrated, and even guilty for feeling those emotions. But here's the thing, hard days are part of the journey, and it's okay to feel them fully. In this episode, we're going to talk about why it's important to give yourself permission to feel all the emotions that come with the hard days, and how healing doesn't mean fixing everything at once. It's about finding small moments of grace and self-compassion. By the end of this episode, I hope you'll walk away with a renewed sense of permission to be human and a few practical strategies to carry with you on those tough days. Let me start by sharing a quick story. I remember a day not that long ago when my child had a sensory overload / homeschool meltdown at the same time I was rushing to finish a deadline for work. I felt like nothing was going right, and I certainly wasn't the patient parent I wanted to be. And I wasn't giving my work the attention it deserved. And by the end of the day, I collapsed on the couch and thought, why can't I handle this better? What I learned from that experience and what I want to share with you today is that it's not about handling everything perfectly. It's about allowing yourself to feel the hard moments and giving yourself grace to move through them. So let's dive into what it means to feel and heal on the hard days. So we're going to start off by talking about you need to give yourself permission to feel, because the first and most important step is allowing yourself to feel the emotions that come with hard days. Whether it's frustration, sadness, or even anger, those feelings are valid. You're a human. You might also be neurodivergent or partnered with someone who is. And parenting, especially parenting an autistic child, can be challenging in ways that most people simply don't understand. Think about this. When your child is upset, you likely encourage them to express their emotions rather than bottling them up, right? Because bottling that stuff up leads to one place, meltdown city. Yet, how often do we give ourselves that same permission to express our feelings? It's easy to push down our feelings because we think we have to stay strong for our families. Or, my personal favorite, we don't feel like we have time to notice, accept, process, and move on from our feelings. But the truth is, suppressing emotions doesn't make them go away. It just makes them harder to carry. Take a moment to name what you're feeling. Maybe it's, I'm overwhelmed because I don't have enough time for myself, or I feel sad because today didn't go the way I hoped. Naming your emotions is the first step to processing them. If you feel guilty for having negative emotions, remind yourself that feelings aren't bad. They're signals. Feeling frustrated or sad doesn't mean you're a bad parent, doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means you're navigating something difficult. Normalize those emotions and know that it's okay to feel what you feel. You don't have to have all the answers or solutions in the moment. Simply allowing yourself to feel is an act of healing. One of the biggest sources of stress on hard days for many parents I know are the unrealistic expectations that we need to be better or even perfect parents. You might think, I should have handled that better, or I'm not doing enough. But here's the reality. Perfection isn't the goal. Connection is. So let's imagine a scenario. Your child refuses to eat the dinner you spent over an hour making. You feel your frustration rising, and the voice in your head says, a good parent wouldn't lose their temper. But what if, instead of striving for perfection, you aim for authenticity? What if you allowed yourself to say, I'm frustrated because I worked hard on this dinner, but I understand this isn't what you want right now. Striving for connection over perfection takes the pressure off and allows you to show up as your authentic self. It's okay to have moments where you're not at your best. What matters most is that your child knows you're there trying your best. And if necessary, you apologize to them for any major missteps that you've had. If, like me, you feel that you're failing when you don't handle things perfectly, shift your focus from outcomes to effort. Celebrate the fact that you're showing up, even when it's hard. I have a whole podcast episode about perfectionism and parenting, and I'll drop the link in the show notes. Remember that your child doesn't need a perfect parent, they need a present parent. And we're going to talk next about small steps towards healing, because healing on hard days isn't about fixing everything. And let's be honest, those days can feel so heavy that even thinking about healing might seem impossible. But here's the thing. Healing isn't about perfection or big gestures. It's about finding small moments of grace that help you move forward one step at a time. Let me share a story about a mom I know who started a simple but powerful ritual. She called it her reset minute. Whenever she felt overwhelmed, whether it was after a meltdown, a tough therapy session, or just the endless demands of the day, she'd step outside for 1 minute. That's it, 1 minute. She'd stand on her porch, breathe in the fresh air, feel the sun on the face, or even the chill of the wind, and repeat to herself, this moment doesn't define the whole day. It doesn't define me as a mother. It was a small act that gave her the space she needed to regroup and re-enter the chaos with just a little more calm. Another parent I worked with found her healing in reflection. She kept a small journal on her bedside table where at the end of each day, she'd write down one thing she did well. At first, she admitted it felt strange. What's the point of writing that I stayed calm during a meltdown or that I remembered to pack a snack for therapy? But over time, that practice shifted her perspective. Instead of focusing on what she didn't accomplish or what she didn't do well, she started seeing all the ways she showed up for herself and her family, even on the hardest days. That journal became a lifeline. On tough days, she could look back and realize she was stronger, more capable, and doing much better than she thought. My next tip is to start small, because when you're overwhelmed, it can be paralyzing to figure out where to even begin. Everything feels urgent, nothing feels manageable. And if that's where you are, I want to encourage you to start with just one small, simple act of self-care. Maybe it's as simple as drinking a glass of water. Yes, water. Your body and mind are connected, and even something as basic as hydration can help you feel a little more grounded. Or maybe you send a quick text to a friend to say, hey, I'm thinking about you. That small connection can remind you that you're not alone. Another idea, take 3 deep breaths. It sounds almost too simple, but those breaths can signal your body to shift out of stress mode and into a state of calm. Inhale deeply through your nose, hold it for a count of 4, then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 4. Repeat that for 2 or 3 breaths. It takes less than a minute, but it can reset your nervous system and give you just enough space to tackle what's next. Because here's the beautiful thing about these small acts of self-care. They build on each other. Drinking water leads to feeling more energized. Texting a friend might turn into a short, uplifting conversation. Taking a deep breath gives you just enough pause to approach the next moment with a little more calm and clarity. Healing doesn't have to look dramatic or Instagram worthy. It doesn't mean, quote unquote, having it all together. It's about giving yourself permission to take one small step at a time, because each of those steps is like laying a tiny brick in the foundation of your well-being. Over time, those small, consistent acts add up to something solid and strong. And if you're thinking, but what if one small act isn't enough? I want to remind you that healing isn't about solving everything in one go. It's about creating space for grace, even in the midst of chaos. And also, you should treat any thought that starts out as, what if, as an intrusive thought and not give it any more weight or attention. But that's a separate topic for another podcast episode. On some days, that reset minute outside might feel like all you can manage, and that's okay. Some days the best you can do might be acknowledging that you got through the day, and that's okay too. Healing is a journey, not a destination, and it is rarely, if ever, linear. So today, I want you to give yourself permission to start small. Choose one thing, a glass of water, a deep breath, a quick note of gratitude, and let that be your step forward. You don't need to fix everything all at once. You just need to take one moment to care for yourself, knowing that each small act is part of a larger, beautiful process of healing and resilience. So let's take a moment to wrap up and revisit the 3 key points we explored today. 1, give yourself permission to feel. Your emotions are valid, whether you're overwhelmed, frustrated, or just plain exhausted. Those feelings don't make you weak or a bad parent, they make you human. Allowing yourself to fully experience your emotions is the first step toward healing. It's okay to cry in the car, take a minute to scream into a pillow, or feel that pang of guilt. The important thing is to acknowledge those feelings without judgment. They don't define you, but they do deserve your compassion. Next, we talk about letting go of the perfect parent ideal, because perfection is an impossible standard, yet so many of us hold ourselves to it. The truth is, your kids don't need a perfect parent. They need you. They need your love, your presence, and your connection. It's okay to serve frozen chicken nuggets for dinner. It's okay to skip the Pinterest-worthy activities and focus on cuddling on the couch. Your value as a parent isn't measured by how many boxes you check off a to-do list. It's measured by the love and care you show your family, especially on the messy days. And finally, take small steps toward healing, because healing doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey made up of small, intentional moments that add up over time. Celebrate every step you take, no matter how small it might seem. Whether it's drinking a glass of water, stepping outside for fresh air, or practicing a series of reset breaths during a tough moment, each action is a testament to your resilience. These small acts of care remind you that you are worthy of healing and rest. Because parenting through the hard days, it's never easy. Some days it feels like the challenges just keep piling up, and it's hard to see a way through. But here's what I want you to hold on to. You're not alone. The weight you feel is real, but so is your strength. You're allowed to feel the heaviness of these hard days. You're allowed to grieve the moments that don't go as planned and to feel the frustration that comes with the constant demands you face. But you're also allowed to take the time you need to heal. You don't have to do it all at once, and you certainly don't have to do it perfectly. Remember, healing isn't about erasing the hard days. It's about learning how to navigate them with grace, resilience, and compassion for yourself. Because every time you give yourself permission to rest, to feel, to connect, or to take a small step towards self-care, you are building resilience. And that resilience ripples out to your family, teaching them that it's okay to struggle and that it's okay to ask for what they need. So today, I challenge you to choose one thing, just one, that helps you feel a little more supported or a little more whole. Maybe it's texting a friend, taking a moment to breathe, or simply giving yourself permission to pause. Whatever it is, know that it matters and know that you matter. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to check out my Thrive in 5 Self-Care SOS Toolkit. It's packed with quick, effective strategies to help you find calm and regain balance even on the hardest days. You can download it for free using the link in the show notes. Thank you for showing up today for yourself and for your family. Parenting through hard days is tough, but you are tougher. And every small act of care you offer yourself is a testament to your strength. Until next week, remember, you're doing an amazing job, even on the hard days. You've got this, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for tuning into the NeurOrdinary podcast. New episodes drop every Thursday, so be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps me reach more amazing neurodivergent and autism parents like you. Found this episode helpful? Share it with a friend who could use these insights. And as always, keep it spicy.